Alex, how did you feel like the offensive line did? It seemed like I don't know if it was their quickness or what they were doing with the movement, or it seemed like you guys had some issues.
Yeah, we did on those edges a little bit. I got to prepare those guys better and handling the edges better and situationals. I throw on one. I know we struggle on long yardage situations. I know one time we had a wide 9, and we got to set that a little bit different. I got to make sure that they're – of course, I got to make sure they focus on it in the moment when it happens, because there's not a do-over. It's not like practice where you can say redo and do this. But I think a couple of times my guys' mindset in the moment, it was too many times we came to the sideline and it was like an old moment, like, oh, like, you know what I mean? So I got to do a good job of making sure in practice this week that, you know, those old moments, I can eliminate those so they can kind of see them coming before they happen. You know, if we're playing too reactionary, then that's on me. We should be dictating, you know, knowing what's coming, knowing how to get it, and I have to eliminate that reactionary training. You're going to have some of it, but it can't be a lot of it.
When an opposing offense is able to have as many plays as it has, like Wake did, I guess rhythm-wise, does that impact the way you guys play the game, call the game? And I guess how big of a role does rhythm or momentum have in what you do?
Possessions are a premium, you know, because you never know how many you're going to get in the game, and not just say, you know, you don't go into the game saying, hey, we're going to run 80 plays. You're just trying to run the best plays you can and just making sure you take advantage of every possession you get, because you don't know how many you're going to get. And so, like, when you talk about the penalties, when you talk about turnovers, those eliminate possessions. So it makes you press a little bit more. And, you know, in this group, this is the first time we had to overcome that with this group. You know, we talk about last year, but this is, you know, we got a lot of new guys out there, you know, guys that hadn't been here. So this is the first time, you know, we have to respond with those guys who hadn't been through it. You know, it's, as a team and a unit, as a coaching staff, we've been here, but we got a lot of new faces out there. And, you know, we got to make sure, you know, we grow within these moments and understand the things we can't do. So it's a lot of learning situations.
Got another one, Brendan? Let's go, Brendan, real quick.
Can you assess the play of Jordan Travis and how he performed on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan, he always shows his toughness. You know, we knew he was going to come back in the second half. We had no doubt about it. There was no panic. I mean, you know, like I said before, Jordan's a ball player. You know, we got to do a good job around him and making sure he has the opportunity to do that. You know, whether it be protecting the ball, whether it be protecting him, whether it be route depths, so many other things that go into it. But his focus and toughness is always going to show up.
Coach, it seemed like some of the plays that gave you guys trouble in terms of tackles for loss on offense were from guards pulling on your guys' counter concepts. I mean, how much of that was speed that you maybe didn't anticipate from their front, and how much of that is just being focused and dialed in?
It goes back to dictating versus reaction, because you know, at O-line we always say, you know, we in a perfect world we want the best, but we're not. I don't know if y'all know the secret. We're not the most athletic on the field when you play in a football game, so you don't want them reacting too much, because that split second is what causes those tackle for loss. So what I got to do a good job of making sure that, you know, like I said, when it comes to the sideline, it's like, oh yeah, because if you're a step slow, or maybe you're anticipating something that didn't happen and that causes a slower reaction, that's when you get those tackle for loss. And I've seen that, you know, a little bit, you know, of course, different conversations. We've seen that versus Louisville, you know, with the speed and the reactionary movements, you know, and things like that. So I got to make sure I'm put in a position where they know it's coming, they can meet it at the spot before it gets to the spot. Because if we meet at the spot at the same time, you know, when you're playing that recovery game at O-line, it's not what you're looking for.
I'm sorry, Coach.
You good?
I wanted to ask about a specific play, the play where Jordan ends up fumbling. Was that a misdirection play that they kind of broke through on, or was it a broken play? Because it seemed
No, that was it was a quarterback counter play where he came through. We had two pullers coming across, and that first puller got there, and he was anticipating edge, but it became the front side linebacker. So he had to really get back square to stop the linebacker from running underneath, but he got underneath and came back and ran him. It's like you're talking about that reactionary, where if the guard would have anticipated he was taking that, like we have a call built in that lets us know, you know, we're pulling for certain people. So if he'd have got that call and he'd have been more anticipating of that movement instead of having to react to it when it happens, and that's when you have to make a big 300-pound man a better athlete, you know, and that's where we want to avoid that as much as possible. We want to give him we want to show him a picture of it before he has to react to it. And if it's too much reaction, you know, those big boys, you know, better get those feet in the ground.
What impresses you about NC State's defense? I assume a lot. They're really good on that side of the ball. And how good are they up front? What kind of challenge do they present to you?
Yeah,
guys?
the first thing you see is they got size. You know, the D tackles all over 290 pounds. You know, and they play with 3 of them on the field. You know, it's a little unique because they always got those 3 D tackles right there that, you know, do a good job of stopping the middle. And it's hard to find those double teams to kind of create those double teams that you get in the scheme they play. They also do a good job of keeping everything in front of them. You know, everything is faced in front of them. And, you know, they tackle well. You know, the guys come downhill really fast and hit you in the backfield. So we got to make sure, you know, we're patient and understanding of what we're doing. And it's got to be a lot of correction, you know. We'll have a good plan going into it, but the plan doesn't mean much if I'm not training those players to kind of know what's coming before it's coming. That way you limit the guessing when it happens, you know. So as far as, you know, us being patient and putting the game plan together, that won't be an issue. We just got to make sure our players are like hitting it on the move, you know, like I'm talking like not even thinking about it.
You guys obviously put points on the board in the second half, but you did have a good drive before halftime as well. Like, how did they settle down? How did you see them react to when they were pressing to not have to wait till halftime, but actually kind of settle down for them?
Yeah, I don't know if they're waiting. It was just, you know, one drive we got in there, we got a holding call with the mental assignment, you know, and then we turned it over, or we get like a false start, you know, things like that where I can tell that they were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen instead of knowing what's going to happen and go attack it. So those are drive killers. I think we had over 11 penalties, and so like when you talk about rhythm, that's how you kind of get out of rhythm when you get those extra long yardage kind of situations, you know. So we just got to do a better job of, like, I think settling. Once they settled, that would be a better word. Once they settled down and stop making those mistakes, you kind of saw us more, you know, getting to the touchdown, to the pay dirt, like we say. But if we don't get to that point where they're playing like that, it makes it difficult.
Brendan?
Micah Pittman is someone that you guys have praised for what he does without the ball in his hands this season. He was able to be productive with the ball on Saturday. How nice was that to get him going and get him in the flow of the offense? And what is he able to do for you guys as a skill set standpoint?
Well, I was happy for him because, you know, as coaches, we say the ball will find you as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do. Because, I mean, you know, I promise you there's not many receivers that say I'm just coming to block, you know, and we have to do a good job of having that understanding. Like, if you continue to do this, the ball will find you. But if that never happens, you know, that trust goes down. But then he saw, like, yeah, it did come to me. It did find me. I was able to get 2 touchdowns. So that builds more confidence in doing it with the ball or without the ball, and it kind of gives you more validity to the coaching.
Aswan?
We're kind of hitting the halfway mark of the season here, crazily enough. What do you need to see from your younger guys to make you think that they'll be involved in your plans moving forward this season here? Is it certain things you'll see in practice, or do you hit a certain point where you kind of just have to let them go and put them maybe in a game situation, some younger guys, if you need to get a little jump start?
We've started that process. Even, you know, I know guys come out to practice. We had those scrimmages on Sunday with those young guys, and as they're starting to understand and feel more comfortable, you know, you start to see a lot more in all teams. You start to see a little bit more youth starting to get in there and start understanding. It builds the competition, builds depth. You start getting more injuries, you know, and things like that. As this game is 100% injury rate, so. What I like about the young guys is they're still in it, they're still focused, and they're still learning. We still have them in meetings. We still have that individual time with them on Sundays and at the end of practices. So, I mean, especially, you know, in the fronts and, you know, see those young backs with Rodney still traveling, being in those meetings. And so, and, you know, Deuce getting back healthy. I think a lot of those new and younger guys are going to start contributing as, you know, the season goes along.
As a team, you guys played really well away from home early this season. Does that give you a little bit more confidence or comfort going into an environment like NC State this week?
Yeah, I mean, our guys hadn't been wide-eyed. I mean, they've settled and played well, whether it be home or on the road. We're just facing, you know, as this team, this was our first kind of adverse test with a loss. You know, we've had to coach it through wins, but, you know, I like the eyes and the attitude. I know this is going to sound crazy after the game. You know, the words that we'll be saying, the quotes that we're saying, and the guys that were encouraging. Now, there still was a lot of disappointment and despair, but they still were together. You know, they still were challenging each other. So the big thing is, when we came in here Sunday, was everybody going to be on time? How was the workout going to be? How was the practice going to be? And that tells you everything you need to know. And now you see that encouraging, relaxed face from the coaches because we know who we're riding with. And that's what makes us feel good. But, you know, the environment, you know, our guys have done a good job of handling that.
Hey, Coach, Trayshawn Ward had some good runs, some physical runs, and that one spin move that he likes to make. He keeps his balance really well after it. I guess if you can comment on his power, but also that balance after that spin move and how he keeps pushing forward.
That's what makes Trey special is his ability to stay on his feet because he's so low center of gravity. You know, if I call him short, he'll probably punch me. So I'm gonna just say he has low center of gravity, you know, and good balance. You know, you know, he's a serious worker, and you know, if you ever watch him, you know, he doesn't smile much because he's serious. He's locked in. Even when he's not taking reps, he's watching those other guys. So, you know, I think his low center of gravity helps him.
You know, if a running back misses an assignment, Yak's got options to put a new guy out there. If a receiver drops a ball, Coach Dugans has the luxury of putting another guy out there in game. Do you have that luxury right now if guys are not performing well to make a change in game on the fly?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the preparation is done throughout the week. You know, we don't go out there and make too many just off-the-wall decisions like, hey, this guy's messing up, because does that build trust in saying, like, Coach, I did mess that up, but do you still believe in me to get it corrected? So it's a full process. Yeah, the result is the results. We're in a results-based business, but it's still a relationship of as soon as a guy make a mistake, do you yank immediately and not give them the chance to correct it? You know, that's going to happen. So I think the process is more is who else is prepared for those moments, and when those moments come, that's what create the competition. Because you can just rotate out guys in and out, and you know, and what if the same continued mistake happens? You know what I mean? So it's just more of trusting the preparation, trusting what you're seeing in practice, and believing in your players. And when they do make a mistake, what is the answer to either believe in them or you do have to make a change if it starts to get crazy, you know. But there is still a preparation and belief in the players we have on the field, and showing them that, yes, I mean, nobody's out there, I promise you, nobody went out there and said, you know what, on this play, I think I'm going to let them beat me. You know, on this play, you know what, the ball a little bit more slippery, I'm going to let it slide. That's not their mindset going out there. So we have to show a belief in them, but also the competition does let them know I can't continue to do this. And so as long as we're on that page, I think we'll be fine.
Have you, I guess it's a relatively small sample size, but in the last few weeks since Johnny Wilson had his really big game against Louisville, have you seen anything drastic with the way defenses are guarding him or accounting for him?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you get a little bit more off coverage and tries to spin a safety, but, you know, it's going to take a lot more for Big Johnny. So I'm surprised. I look forward to watching him continue to grow in the offense and come into his own.
We'll get back over to Ira.
Looking back at the game in totality, what did you guys feel like? I mean, I know there was a couple penalties, but the red zone offense, what do you feel like you guys need to do better in that area?
Of course, the easy word is execution, but, you know, the word I'm going to use is more dictate, not reactionary. You know, to have an understanding of exactly what we're going to do, and that's on us. I mean, that's us as the coaches and things like that, making sure our guys are not playing reactionary football once we get down there and understand what's coming, see it, meet it, and go force the defense to be reactionary to what we're doing. And that's what we want to do. And so as long as the preparation goes into that and making sure when I look at my players, they understand exactly what we're talking about when we're attacking, there's not that look of, oh, okay, I got you. Like, I think we'll be fine and see better results than that, you know. And you know, moving forward, I think it'd be a lot better.
Anything else? All set.
Appreciate it.